Most of them out here with another 3-turn guide, this time for Throgg, the Lord of Wintertooth. Throgg's campaign, as well as Wulfrik the Wanderer, the 2 Norscan campaigns, can both be a little bit difficult. This is just a quick guide on how to lure your closest enemy into attacking you on turn 3, and how you can potentially win that battle. And then, because of the special confederation mechanic that Norsca has, that will mean that you'll be able to automatically confederate with that faction and expand your territory really quickly to kind of get a bit of a jump start on Throgg's campaign. Stay tuned to find out how you can have a chance to win your very own dragon. Some conditions may apply. First, move to the very top corner of your territory, staying within your borders, and recruit 2 marauders and 1 marauder hunter with javelin. Turn 2, recruit 3 more marauder hunters with javelins. On turn 3, move Throgg as far as you can towards the Acelings conclave. Put him then into raiding camp stance and use global recruitment just to queue up a couple of units to recruit. It doesn't matter what. Over the end turn, the enemy will always attack you to try to stop your recruitment from being completed. I've tested this multiple times, and every single time the enemy will attack you over the end turn and come to you. If you started your movement in the top corner of Throgg's territory and move directly to the Acelings camp, you'll end up in this position that Throgg's in here, and when the enemy attacks you, it'll trigger a bridge battle or a crossing battle. If you do move to a slightly different position, it is possible to get a plains battle, but I think the crossing battle is the easiest one to win. When you deploy your units prior to the battle, set up your 4 units of marauders partially covering the crossing, but leave the left-hand side open. This will allow Throgg and your trolls and possibly your wolves to cycle charge in from the left-hand side, and you can also move your hunters around to that side to throw from the non-shield side of the attacking marauders, as their right hand will face your left side. I like to set up my wolves at the front so they can get across the crossing and get around behind the enemy. Once the enemy fills up this crossing, it'll be plugged and it'll be very difficult to get your units through there. You can send 1 unit of wolves out to try to draw the Frost Wyrm into using its breath attack. The wolves are quite fast, and if you keep changing their formation and moving them around, it's possible for the dragon to use its breath attack and do very minimal damage to them. You can use your wolves to harass and cycle charge the sides of the marauder formation as they're coming in, or to try to distract the Frost Wyrm if you're able to sort of micro multiple places at once. I don't use mine too well, unfortunately, and take a lot of casualties. Throughout the battle, you can use Throgg's breath attack on clumps of infantry. You can also target the dragon if it's on the ground, or the enemy marauder chieftain, as it does decent single target damage as well if you're able to target them. Throgg can be a decent tank against the enemy marauder infantry, so you can hold up their infantry a little way away from your lines to give your javelins some time to shoot at them. Once the infantry is sort of stationary, you can start cycle charging with your trolls. That'll do some pretty good damage against them. Your trolls, as well as Throgg, cause fear, and this combined with the morale penalty from taking missile fire from your javelins and the large amount of damage that Throgg and the trolls do, should see their marauders start to break. At this point, you'd like to have your wolves nearby so that you can chase down those marauders and make sure that they don't rally. Unfortunately, I didn't manage my micromanage my wolves very well. Your trolls will periodically rout and pull themselves out of combat. Even if they don't, you should probably pull them out manually, just so that they can rally a little bit. They'll regenerate some health as well, and then also you can recharge them back in again, and they'll do much more damage on the charge than they will if you just leave them in sustained combat. With their anti-large missiles, your marauder hunters with javelins should do great damage to the dragon. Position them to fire on the dragon as it closes, and perhaps get Throgg and or your trolls in to try to tie it up in melee, otherwise the dragon might melee with your hunters. You'll probably have to rout the Frost Wyrm twice or even 3 times before the end of the battle, so you have to be careful to do as little damage as possible to it. So as the Frost Wyrm gets low on health and morale, select all of your units that are attacking it and get ready to cancel their attack before it takes too much damage. Usually when its morale gets to 0, just before it actually breaks, you can actually stop a second or two earlier. When the Frost Wyrm recovers its leadership and returns to combat, you have to be really careful not to kill it. If the Frost Wyrm dies during the battle, even if you win and confederate the enemy faction, you won't get the Frost Wyrm unit. It has to survive, so you have to break its morale without killing it. I recommend you just use 1 unit of javelins and just fire sporadically. Keep cancelling the firing every time it throws a couple of javelins, and that'll give it a morale debuff without doing hopefully too much damage. You can also move powerful units like Throgg close by to the dragon, and it'll get an extra morale debuff for having more powerful units nearby. Make sure you don't let Throgg actually hit the dragon, as it does a lot of damage. You can potentially kill it if it's on low health. I actually got extremely lucky here. I didn't have good control of my javelin throwers and nearly killed the dragon with the javelins, and then I nearly killed it with Throgg as well, but managed to stop both of those from delivering the final blow just in time. It's really advantageous if you can kill the enemy Marauder Chieftain. The enemy will then get a debuff to their leadership for their leader being dead, and also for him having died recently. I don't recommend that you send Throgg and the Trolls into the sort of mosh pit if he's mixed in with the infantry units to try to kill him, as it can be hard for them to target him and kind of waste their damage that they could be using to kill Marauders. If he gets outside of the infantry, then you can use your Hunters to do really good damage to him with their missiles. As the battle goes into its latter stages, just keep using your high-powered units like your Trolls and Throgg to keep sort of cycle charging and doing damage to the units that are most likely to break, so you can try and get them out of there. Keep using your Wolves to try to hunt down and finish off any units that are wavering or broken so that they don't rejoin the battle. And eventually you can even use your Javelins as melee troops to sort of hold the line once they run out of ammunition as well. Full disclosure, this is not an easy battle. Doing it as soon as possible on turn 3 means you've only got 13 units versus their 17. The battle's quite hard, and probably the hardest thing about it is making sure that the dragon's leadership breaks without actually killing the dragon. I actually had to have 3 attempts, and the first 2 the dragon died both times. So when I said there's only a chance to get a dragon, I guess the chance is about 1 in 3, depending on how good you are at not killing dragons. So there you have it. 3-turn guide for Throgg with a chance to get a dragon. Some conditions may apply, including extremely hard battle and really high chance for the dragon to die. But even if you can't get the dragon, at least you get to confederate your nearby neighbor, get a quick start to the campaign on turn 3, and hope this helps you guys out with your future Throgg campaigns. If you're interested in seeing any of my other 3-turn guides or build guides or my walkthroughs for Warhammer 2 or Necromunda Underhive Wars, please check out my channel and subscribe if you'd like to be notified about future videos. That's all I got. Thanks, guys.
I eat my enemies.